let's get right into it. In 2024, artificial intelligence didn't just grow, it absolutely exploded. According to the latest Stanford AI Index report, we're seeing a technology that's smashing all the records for investment and power, but at the same time, it's causing some very real harm out in the world. So today, we're going to break down what that really means for all of us. You know, if you had to boil down 2024 into one single story for AI, it's this. This is the year the technology went totally mainstream. For years, it was kind of stuck in the lab, a thing for researchers. But now, the Stanford report makes it crystal clear. It's at the very heart of how business works, a massive shift from the sidelines right into the core of our economy. And the report just puts it perfectly. AI is discussed everywhere, from boardrooms to kitchen tables. And that's really the key, isn't it? This isn't just some tech story anymore. It's a society story, it's a business story, and for a lot of us, it's becoming a really personal one. The tech is just moving so fast that it's forcing all of us to have conversations we never thought we'd be having. Okay, so let's really dig into the scale of this explosion, because the numbers, they are just mind-blowing. The amount of money, the sheer amount of data, and the energy being poured into AI right now is almost hard to wrap your head around. So first, let's follow the money. A record-shattering $252.3 billion. That's billion with a B. That's how much corporations invested in AI in 2024 alone. And to put that into perspective, the report points out this is a huge rebound. It shows that after maybe a tiny slowdown, the race is back on, and frankly, it's bigger than it has ever been. And that investment is just picking up speed. We saw a 26% growth in global private AI investment year over year. So it's not just that the numbers are huge, it's that they're growing at this incredible clip. The momentum is just undeniable at this point. But you know, it's not just about the cash. It's about who actually holds the power. This chart here shows the raw computing power, the compute, used to train the big AI models. And just look at that giant green bar for industry. It completely dwarfs what academia and government are doing. This tells a really critical story. The most advanced, most powerful AI is now almost exclusively being built inside private companies. And all of that computing power? Well, it needs a staggering amount of energy. So much, in fact, that the report highlights companies are making moves that would have seemed crazy just a few years ago. Like Microsoft, for instance, inking a $1.6 billion deal to bring the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor back to life, just to power its AI data centers. That's wild. So with all this money and all this power being poured in, the models are getting way more powerful. I mean, we're seeing these huge leaps in what they can do, especially in areas that felt like pure science fiction just a couple years back. But the report also gives us a pretty healthy dose of reality about how we should think about all this progress. And there is no better example of this massive leap than the whole Will Smith eating spaghetti meme. You've probably seen it. Back in 2023, the AI-generated video was, well, it was a glitchy, horrifying mess, total nightmare fuel. Just 2 years later, that same prompt gives you something that is shockingly realistic. That jump in quality is maybe the most visible sign of how fast all this is moving. It's really easy to look at that video and think, okay, AI is on a one-way track to becoming a super genius. But the report really urges us to be cautious here. It asks a super important question. Are these models actually getting smarter, or are they just getting better at passing the tests that we give them? And this gets to what the report calls the measurement problem. See, on the surface, AI scores on these standard tests or benchmarks, they just keep going up and to the right. But when researchers dug in, they found some serious problems. For instance, some models were acing a popular math test just because the answers were already floating around in their training data. That's called contamination. It's basically like giving a student the answer key before the exam. The report warns that a lot of these benchmarks are flawed, so it's really hard to know if the AI is truly getting smarter or if it's just getting better at cheating. Okay, so this brings us to the direct impact on all of us, on society. Because as these incredibly powerful, even if they are flawed, tools get out into the world, they are creating both these amazing breakthroughs and, at the same time, some very real, very tangible harm. The report documents some truly harrowing examples. In Texas, a 15-year-old student, Elliston Berry, was targeted by a male classmate who used an app to create fake nude images of her and her friends. The distress that caused was immense. This isn't some abstract future threat. It is happening to people right now. And the consequences can be absolutely tragic.
A lawsuit was filed against the company Character.ai after a 14-year-old boy took his own life. This happened after he had these long conversations with a chatbot that allegedly gave him harmful advice instead of the support he needed. It just raises these profound, difficult ethical questions about AI companionship when there aren't proper safeguards in place. But, and this is the really wild part, at the very same time all of this is happening, AI is also enabling scientific discovery at the absolute highest level. The report proudly points out that in 2024, AI-driven research was recognized with not one, but two Nobel Prizes. One for AlphaFold's revolutionary work in predicting how proteins fold, and another for the foundational research into the neural networks that make all of this possible. So you have this explosion in power, in capability, and in real-world impact, both the good and the very bad. The final chapter of this whole story, according to the report, is how the world is now scrambling, and I mean scrambling, to respond and to try and build some guardrails for this technology. And you can actually see that scramble to respond happening in real time. In 2024, the European Union passed its huge landmark AI Act. Here in the US, the number of state-level AI laws more than doubled in a single year. And on a global scale, countries launched this new network of safety institutes just to coordinate their efforts. The takeaway here is really clear. Policymakers are done just talking about AI. They are racing to govern it. So there you have it. That's the state of AI in 2025, according to Stanford's AI Index. It's a technology that is accelerating in power, in investment, and in its impact on all of our lives, at a pace that we have just never seen before. The report lays out all the facts, all the data, all the trends, but it leaves us with the ultimate question. Faced with this incredible world-changing force, what will we choose to do next?